Hey everyone, it's Michael. Today I'm going to be doing another book review on the original Goosebumps classic 62 book long series, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight by R.L. Stine. This is a story that I've only seen the TV adaptation, the episode on the old show from the 90s. I saw that, and I think I saw the whole episode. I might have, and I might not have. I'm not really entirely sure, but I remember liking what I saw. It felt like a lot like Jeepers Creepers, you know, the films, if you're familiar with that. Mainly the first one, but still. I really liked this book. I thought it was really good. It was a really fun read. Kind of creepy sometimes. It's not like the most spectacular Goosebumps book I've ever read, but definitely out of the original series, I would say it's one of the best, easily. Where's the best place to start with this book? I'll just kind of start with the promise. Listen to me. The premise. Essentially a brother and sister named Jody and Mark. They're going to go visit their grandparents like they always do. I believe it's during summertime. I could be wrong, but look at the cover here, man. How does this not make you feel like fall and autumn and stuff? You know, it looks like a fall, October type thing. So that's why we're reviewing it on the second day of September. Yeah, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. They're going to the grandparents' house, and they happen to own a farm, by the way. There's also a farmhand named Stanley who works there. He's a very odd, very weird man. Not really the smartest guy on the planet. He reminds me a lot of, what is the fellow from Stephen King's The Stand? Is it Tom? I think is his name, the man that says M-O-O-N, that spells, and then he'll say something. That guy. He reminds me a lot of him, whatever his name is. But he also has a son named Styx, who's a little bit older than these main kids, Jody and Mark. Probably like 16, let's say. He's very lanky, very tall, skinny human being. But it turns out in the field itself, there's a lot of scarecrows throughout the crops and whatnot that Stanley had put up over time. And the story is mostly just kind of focused on the kids wondering why their grandparents are acting so weird. They usually love to hear their grandfather's very scary stories about headless boys in closets and stuff like that. They also love their grandmother's cooking, her wonderful chocolate chip pancakes in the morning and everything else that she usually does for them, all these meals, these dinners, and they start realizing that something's wrong with the grandparents. They start saying some really odd things about why they're not doing this, or that they might forget how to cook something, you know. It's a very, very different type of Goosebumps book. And one of the weirdest things about this is the first time, really, honestly, I think, that almost from the get-go of the beginning of a story, I felt like I knew exactly where this was going. Like it was a very predictable story. And at the same time, it didn't ruin my experience. I just kind of wish that it wasn't like that. And I've read a ton of Goosebumps books here on my channel, so I can very much vouch that that's not the case typically with R.L. Stine's books or Goosebumps books specifically by him, or ghost written by him. It doesn't really matter which one we're talking about. But it's not very common that they feel this blatant and this obvious to me. It just kind of ruined the mysterious feel to the story. It kind of ruined the tone the story was going for. But it was also very eerie. It had some good moments, and again, just like the title hints, at nighttime, for some reason, the main characters look out the window at nighttime around midnight, and they see the scarecrows moving out in the crops and on the farm, and they don't really understand what that is, or if they're just seeing things, if it might just be the wind blowing them around, but they look like they're moving a little bit too much. It's a very interesting story. I think this one would have scared me a lot when I was a child, if I had read it then, when I was big into Goosebumps for the first time. And I think it would have gotten to me. This is one of those original, not this cover in particular, but the original cover, the 1994 cover for Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, was genuinely scary, I think. I think it's a creepy one. One of the creepier ones like Slappy in the original Not a Living Dummy book. Just a really eerie cover, you know? But I love this cover. I think I actually like this cover more than the original release cover, in my opinion. Very cool, very creative. I like the cartoonish style, but it works with the Halloween type feel to it. But the story itself, I had a fun time with. Like I said, it's just a little run-of-the-numbers, run-of-the-mill type story. If you're fine with that, you're probably going to be okay with the story as well. Again, the ending is nothing super special. There's not like a big, major plot twist or anything. There's always that one last twist Goosebumps books typically end on. And sometimes they're drastically huge, and sometimes they're not so big where they kind of overtake most of what you read. The story is very basic, very entertaining, kind of like a slasher film for kids almost, or in a book in this case. But if you're into that, if you like this kind of thing, I think this is one of the highlights of the Goosebumps series, honestly. It's very different. And I've read a lot of the original series. Right now, I think I've read about 21 or 22 original series classic books that I've reviewed here on the channel so far. And I'm pretty confident that out of the 62 books in total, they're probably not going to vary as much as this one did to everything else. This one feels so drastically different, in my opinion, in the sense of the way it's told and how predictable it actually is. Like I said, it's not like it's very subtle. You know, I don't know, it's very obvious what it's doing. But it was still a fun time. I had a really good time. I actually started reading this morning, and I burned through the book today. I don't know why. It was just really good. I've been in the mood to read with all these Halloween reviews going on and stuff that I'm doing right now through September and October, God willing. So I had a good time reading this. I definitely recommend it. If you haven't read Goosebumps, the original classic series, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, I recommend it. I actually like the TV episode, like I said, too, so I can recommend that. I'm actually going to possibly, God willing, rewatch that and do a review. I own it on DVD, so I don't have to pay for it again. Thank God. So I'll try to rewatch that in the next day or two and get a review up for you guys so you can see just my thoughts on the TV episode and whatnot. How faithful they are to this book adaptation, their adaptation to this particular novel. But anyway, what are your thoughts on The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight? I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below, guys, in the comments section, whether you've read this one, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you love the TV episode or not. If I had to rate Scarecrow Walks at Midnight on a 5-star basis, I think I would give this about a 4 out of 5. It was a really entertaining read. I had a good time. That's really all I'm looking for with books in general, but also especially with Goosebumps books. I don't really care how unique they are or how creative they are, which they typically are, both of those. But I always have a fun time. I always do, typically. And this is a great example of one of those. I definitely recommend reading it more around the fall time, like right now, like I am. It's just something special about it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.